Will be Doc Dirk that saved the NBA, former senior writer at Sports Illustrated, Christine Leahy, in a couple of minutes. I have always had this theory about people in life in general. It's called the drip, 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 drip theory. We've all had a cousin like this or a family member. They're not necessarily bad people, certainly not criminal, drip, 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 drip. But after a while, you see a pattern of bad judgment. Drip, 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 drip. The faucet just slowly drips. And after a while, you've got a puddle of bad judgment. Baker Mayfield is now admitting he didn't really prepare well for one of his interviews. The Chargers in Los Angeles were interested. They met with him as a staff. They gave him plays to memorize. And he didn't really study it. He admits it now. I have also seen him in the last 3 days posing without his shirt on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Really? Colin, this is no big deal. First of all, everything is something. Everything is something. I now have a guy who has grabbed his crotch on the sidelines, planted a flag at Ohio State's logo, arrested public intoxication, tackled by police, didn't bother studying a Charger playbook, shirtless Sports Illustrated. By the way, TCU, Gary Patterson, a very respected coach, called out his dad once. Said his dad is arrogant and full of himself. Apple tree, fall far from it. You've heard the story. Drip, 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 drip. So let me ask you, when does any of it matter to you? You going to tie your family, your 2 girls in prep school as a GM? You've already moved around. Your wife has had to sacrifice multiple times. For you, the GM, the football scout, going to tie your career to that? You got 2 daughters in prep school. They finally love the town they live in. You've moved from Green Bay. Then you were in Denver. And now you're in wherever. And you want to live there. And your kids do not leave school. And you got to make decisions on quarterbacks that will shape your career. Want to pull those girls out of school again? Want to get fired again? When does this stuff start to matter? Forget the football stuff, which Trent Dilfer, I finally found somebody yesterday that agrees with me. He's just not that special of an athlete.
So you watch the second half of the Georgia game, and you can forecast what it's going to be like for him in the NFL if he continues to play his style of football, which is the creative, intuitive, extend plays. It's not going to work. He's not a good enough athlete to play that style of football in the NFL.
So a lot of these college highlights,
just dismiss them.
They're not going to work.
RPOs dismiss, him running around making Big 12 average athletes dismiss. Look at the Georgia game. Now you get an idea that what the NFL will do to him, force him, in the pocket, being a rhythm timing guy.
Okay. So, again, not saying any of this stuff is criminal. Not saying he's a bad person. But when your college football season ends and you're a top quarterback and you're going to get drafted, you have a tiny little window, 3 months, to behave. Who's the quarterback we've heard nothing from, not a peep? Sam Darnold. Not a peep. He's not posing with his shirt off. Every interview, he aces. His pro day, he wanted to throw in the rain. Drip, 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 drip. That faucet, that Sam Darnold faucet, tight as a drum. No puddle of bad judgment. Christine with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Kevin Love had to leave the Cavs game yesterday. He jammed his thumb when he was reaching for a steal in the fourth quarter of the game, so he went to the bench, got examined and taped up, and he did not come back.
Yeah.
It turns out he has a partially torn ligament.
Oh, jeez.
But he expects to play in Game 3. Here he is last night.
Wow.
Saw the replay too. It didn't look good. Hurt pretty bad. Initially, I told Ty afterward that could have gone back in, but I think he liked the flow out there and guys made big plays down the stretch. So, it's not gonna feel great tomorrow, but throw some ice on it, tape it up, and be ready to go.
I don't know much about having a torn ligament in your thumb, but it sounds pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I wonder if it will affect him or not, or if he'll be able to.
Well, I mean,
play through it.
listen, even if it's a torn ligament, Christine, you shoot a basketball.
Yeah.
Your offhand is your balance hand.
Right. So for shooting, you're saying?
I don't think it's great. I mean, listen, everybody thinks I bailed on LeBron. He's still amazing. I don't think Cleveland's winning.
Yeah, you think they're done,
I think they're done.
It
Listen,
was close last night.
Christine, it should have never been close. Every team in the playoffs so far, everyone that can't hit threes, not only loses, but generally gets blown out. They couldn't hit threes. They were sloppy. LeBron was superhuman, had his best first quarter ever.
Yeah.
And Indiana had a shot to tie the game.
Well, that's the thing. And I think LeBron had an unbelievable game. And if he can play like that and they still can't win, and now Kevin Love is hurt, not a good sign
and for the record, I think the NBA would have been in big trouble 3 years ago with this. I think the emergence of Simmons.
Now they're fine.
I think the league is fine now. I thought the best game last night to me was OKC Utah. I couldn't keep my eyes off it.
I don't want to talk about that game. I feel like I was a bad omen. I wore the Russell Westbrook shirt yesterday, and I feel partially responsible because, you know, I'm really superstitious.
It was a cool shirt.
I love that shirt, so I want to keep wearing it, but I don't want to jinx them. James Harden and the Rockets, they crushed the T-Wolves last night.
Yeah.
Harden was 2 of 18, though.
Yeah, he was bad.
Not a good shooting night for him. He says he's not worried, though.
I'm more happy than anybody right now, believe it or not, you know, just because I'm not really worried about my shot. You know, like those same shots game one, they went in. You know, in game three, I'll shoot those same shots, you know. But I'm fortunate to have guys like, you know, Gerald and just the entire team, you know, to be able to have my back on both ends of the floor.
This is a really bad matchup for Minnesota. If Minnesota could have picked a team they didn't have to play, I think Minnesota could have played with Utah. I think Minnesota could play.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah, and I think it's a bad matchup. To me, this is a sweep. I just don't think they match up with Houston at all.
Well, I was going to comment on what Harden said because I completely agree. Even if you go 2 of 18, you should still keep shooting the ball. That's what I said about Westbrook, too. Yeah. Even though he sometimes will have a slow night, at the end of the game, you have to shoot. You have to.
Yeah. Well, and Harden is really a world-class shooter.
Yeah, you just have an off night sometimes, and that's okay. That was a pretty bad one. And finally, there are reports now that Baker Mayfield to the Jests is a done deal.
Wow.
And the only way that this would change is if Sam Darnold somehow miraculously falls to number 3. Do you like it?
Well, what you're basically saying is if Cleveland takes Josh Allen, I have been told in the last 24 hours that the Giants would draft Darnold because they feel he's too good to pass on. The Giants like one quarterback in this draft, and they're not going to pass on Darnold.
Right.
So I'll tell you something. The Browns, the dominoes are going to fall. So what the Jets are saying is, what they're really saying is, we like Baker Mayfield over Josh Rosen because Darnold and Allen will be gone by the 3rd pick. So the Jets are making a choice. This is why sports is fun. We think Baker Mayfield is a better prospect than who Greg Cosell said is the best quarterback prospect of all of them, Josh Rosen at UCLA. So good luck, Jets. Good luck.
I liked your little note card, by the way. The note card that you made with all your notes on Baker Mayfield.
You liked it?
No, I don't like it. I think it's harsh.
I am sometimes harsh. I'm guilty of harshness.
The headband thing, you know, I don't know why you need to go there. I think if you would like to wear a headband, you should be able to.
You know what? I take notes on you and Goulet and Tui, too.
Please let me see those notes. I would love to see. I have notes over here, too, on you.
All right.
That's news.
Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line
I've got a
News.
couple of stories, so don't go anywhere. There is a new rumor with Josh Rosen and the Patriots. I'll explain to you why that rumor is out. I've got some intel on that. And also, Tyronn Lue of the Cavs made a very interesting comment last night. He and LeBron know something, and they don't want to publicly say it, so don't go anywhere. Say goodbye to Takeout, hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy-to-follow recipes, shipped to your door, limited time, $30 off the first box. Again, shipping is free, HelloFresh.com/Colin. Well, I've known Ian Thompson for a long time. He's joining us in Boston via the Coward Global Satellite Network. Former senior writer, Sports Illustrated. He's got a book out, The Soul of Basketball, the showdown, the epic showdown between LeBron, Kobe, Doc, Dirk that saved the NBA. Yesterday I came out, and I believe, like you did, LeBron for 10 to 12 years, Ian, has been the bedrock of this sport, and they needed him in the finals, certainly in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm watching those games over the last week, these playoff games, Ian. I don't feel like that anymore. I think the league's in an incredible place, and it's not beholden to LeBron. Am I nuts?
No, you're right. He has bridged it to this point to where they don't need him. You know, Michael Jordan set up this model. Michael Jordan put the NBA on a financial footing, gave it financial security that it did not have when Michael Jordan first came into the league. And LeBron was beholden to that model of the NBA needs a Jordan figure. It needs that one star that everything's built around. I always thought that was a terrible business model, and it set LeBron back for a number of years. He's persevered. He's taken the league to another place where they don't need that Michael Jordan anymore to be successful. You're exactly right. They can have two stars on one team between Curry and Durant at Golden State. You have Ben Simmons and Embiid. You can have Chris Paul and James Harden. And all these different guys, it's not going to be a one-person league anymore. I'm totally with you. I respectfully disagree about them losing a series, but I'm totally with you on that point. And that's the real point for the whole league.
Let's shift gears. LeBron has an ejector seat button in his DNA. Okay, Cleveland, he felt trapped. He went. Miami at the end. Roster got old. He felt trapped. Eject. That is part of LeBron's DNA. By the way, I've moved 3 or 4 times. I've always been for player mobility. It's something in my DNA. If I feel trapped, I'm out. Okay, so I've always supported Durant, Garnett, all these players. We're mobile. You're mobile. I'm mobile. They can be mobile too. Okay, I'm feeling LeBron feels trapped. This roster's contractually tied for 2 years. Kevin Love is constantly hurt. Kyrie's gone. He sees how good the Celtics will be next year, Ian. He sees how good Philadelphia. This is the worst Sixer team for the next decade. They're going to get better every year. I got to tell you, Ian, I look at LeBron, and I see that ejector seat. I really do. I don't think he's going to stay for the next 2 years in Cleveland. What is your gut feeling on this?
Yeah, I have the same gut feeling, I think. I mean, we always have to be careful. Even the people around him are making it clear they're not sure what he's going to do. I reject this idea that he would go to the Lakers because he has a home there and because it makes sense commercially. He's doing just fine commercially. He doesn't need to go to someplace because of the market anymore, or he never did. I think it can be all about winning. This is a guy, when you watch him play, he is so dedicated now. There's no questioning that anymore. He's in such terrific shape. In his 15th year, led the league in minutes plays, has played every game. And it's all about winning championships and maxing himself out as a player. And the point you were making earlier, it's totally true. And I think it's really going to be relevant this summer that he needs players around him. In my book, Pat Riley told me when he recruited LeBron, he listed all the teams of trios that had won championship. And he said to him in the recruiting meeting in Cleveland, this is back in 2010, you're not going to win unless you have stars around you. And he listed them all, the Celtics, the Lakers, the Bulls, all these great players that wouldn't have won if they hadn't had stars around them. And that's, I think, what he is going to be looking for. And no one should blame him this time. He'll leave Cleveland properly. He'll show respect for everybody. The mission was accomplished in Cleveland. He won a championship for them. Now it's going to be maxing himself out and seeing just how good he can be. In my book, he's one of the 3 great players of all time, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. He wants to move up on that list, I think. He wants to see how high he can go.
You know, it's interesting. Yesterday I said that I trust my instincts. And I woke up on Saturday, and I was more interested to watch Ben Simmons than LeBron. And for 10 years, there's not been a player in this league I was more interested in than LeBron. And I felt the same way when I saw Tiger golf. I like soccer. Christian Pulisic. I saw him play a year ago, and I thought, oh, my God, every time he plays, I watch. I can't explain how I feel, but this is how I feel. People say you're getting ahead of yourself on Ben Simmons. You're very well sourced. Your feelings, I think it's remarkable that they're almost better without Embiid. Their tempo increases. They play faster. Am I overstating it on Ben? What are your sources saying on how good this kid is, how early?
Oh, he's amazing. And you're totally right. He has that kind of upside. And it's all because of the vision for the game. It's not all of the skills that they can measure, the size, the athleticism. Okay, he needs to shoot better. That's going to come for sure over the years. But it's the vision. And it's also the team that's around him. He does have Embiid, or he will have him back soon, and all the other guys, and the way they play. I think Colin, I'm guessing that you're not as interested in LeBron because of who is around him. And there's really not a future for that team to really get anything done. I mean, maybe they can get to the NBA Finals. I think they can, because there's no team in the East that has more than 2 stars. Cleveland has 2 stars when Kevin Love is playing well, and if you have LeBron James, you have the tiebreaker. If 2 stars versus 2 stars, you go with LeBron James. Imagine if LeBron goes to Philly this summer. They have enough cap space. They can make a couple of moves and clear enough space to get him. I think then we'll all be very interested again in watching LeBron, to see how he mixes with this team and the leadership he provides. And he would not be a drag on them either. There's talk, you wouldn't want an older LeBron playing with them. He'll set them back. LeBron would know exactly what he was up against if he went to Philadelphia. He would know that if they lost, it would be his fault. And he has the power to make sure they win. And he's such a good teammate and passer. He would make sure they would win.
Former senior writer at Sports Illustrated, Ian Thompson, wrote the book, we'll show it to you, The Soul of Basketball, the epic showdown between LeBron, Kobe, Doc, and Dirk that saved the NBA. Many of you may forget that post-Michael Jordan, the league lost 40 to 45% of its ratings, and then these transcendent, transformational players arrived, and they've obviously elevated it to a remarkable place right now. I've never seen this much young talent. Now, one of the young talents in the game that I push back on, and whenever I talk to young broadcasting students, they say, how do you do this? I just say, listen, be honest. We're all fans of players and teams, and if you're brutally honest, you'll get pushback without trying to be contrarian or controversial. And when I say Russell Westbrook, I always say, if I had $150 to watch a player, he'd probably be it. He's unbelievably dynamic. But Kevin Durant's in Golden State for a reason and has never played more efficiently. I watched him last night. I'm still not sure this Paul George, Steven Adams, Melo, Westbrook, Billy Donovan thing works. Can we just be honest about Westbrook? We've seen this before. He's a remarkable talent, but he doesn't always play well with others, and he is hard to play with, and we don't know if Paul George is having any fun.
Oklahoma City is one of those teams. You could be sitting in a movie theater in the 1920s watching a silent movie, and there'd be no scoreboard on the screen, and you could tell if they were winning or losing just by the ball movement. If the ball is moving from side to side, which is the key to playing these defenses, opposing these defenses today, then you would know Oklahoma City's doing great. And if it isn't, if it's sticking, if it's just one guy dribbling up and launching threes or attacking the basket and putting his head down and taking it on himself,
yes,
then you know they're in trouble, right? You don't need to see the scoreboard. It's like certain players, you can tell by their facial expression if they're winning or losing. You can tell what's going on with them by that. And it's just really interesting to me. The triple-double was always known as the stat of selflessness.
Right.
Okay, you were a good scorer, but you were rebounding, so you were making effort plays, you were sharing the ball. And this is how dynamic Russell Westbrook is. He's turned the triple-double into like a sign that maybe he's looking out for himself to build up his stats. It's a terrible place for him to be. And yet, until he leads a team, not carries a team, but leads a team by sharing the ball through the playoffs, that's what he's going to be living with.
Yeah. And finally, The Soul of Basketball. What is your book? Give us a minute here. Kind of wrap a bow around what this book and the direction of your narrative in this book is.
It's about the making of a champion. And if you think about that, the decision when LeBron went on TV and turned the whole country against him by the way he said he was leaving Cleveland. It wasn't his choice to leave Cleveland. It was how he did it. Pat Riley was waiting for him on the tarmac in Miami that night. And when he met LeBron coming off the plane, LeBron was devastated. He just read the letter from Dan Gilbert savaging him. He was a 25-year-old guy, insecure. He didn't know what he was going to be. He had everything going for him talent-wise, but he didn't know how to use it. So these two guys, they meet on the tarmac, and they help each other. Riley gets to be the Riley he was in the 80s with the Lakers. LeBron gets to realize his future as a teammate and a champion. And it really changed the NBA. If LeBron had not changed his ways and become the player he's become, would the NBA be so popular right now? That's how I talk about saving the league, because it really helped everybody else come along. All the young players you're talking about, they're all following the leadership of LeBron. They're all wanting to be like LeBron.
Yeah, I completely agree. Player mobility. If Magic and Bird saved the league and Michael made it global, he is the player mobility superstar of that generation. He said it's okay. You're more important than the owner and the GM. You have a right to leave and chase your dreams. Ian, continued success. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Hey, thanks so much, Colin. Appreciate it.
Coming up next, two things. Why Embiid's injury is actually great for the NBA. I know that sounds weird. Why Joel Embiid, who probably doesn't play tonight, why that is great for the league. And a story about the Patriots and UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen and why it was leaked. That's next. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. And then they just walk around sad and bald. It is just no way to live.
That's terrible to say, Colin.
I'm joking.
There's a lot of viewers and listeners out there that are feeling sad right now.
No, I have a lot of bald friends, and they're joyful.
And bald guys are great.
Yes, they are.
My
wife always says
guys.
that. Bald guys are cool. They're tough looking.
Yeah, they have some confidence to them.
No kidding. Not comb-over guy.
Exactly. Comb-over guy, weird.
Not
bald guy, okay.
All right. Well, thanks to science, though, if you don't want to be bald, you can have options now. There's no waiting rooms. These are not snake oil pills. These are not gas station counter supplements. Go to forhims.com. Generic equivalents, well-known, name-brand prescriptions, real doctors. Get on the phone. They'll send it to you. A couple of quick questions. My listeners can try 4 Hims, $5 today right now while supplies last. FOR, forhims.com/Colin. Go to the site, forhims.com/Colin.